Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, I'm going to be doing another altcoin special, and I'm going to be taking a look at the technical analysis for ONDO, JASMY, Fetch. We'll also do BONK. There's Fetch right there. We'll do BONK and finish off with AERO. So those will be the five altcoins: Aerodrome, ONDO, JASMY, Fetch, and BONK. Taking a look at crypto fear and greed, let's hit a quick refresh on this. Coming up a little bit into the neutrality area. So we have seen the fear and greed index sort of ranging down here. But unless we get above, I'll say above this 50 mark, it may just be a false alarm. So just something to keep an eye on with the fear and greed. Once we start getting above there, then we'll take a look and reassess. Of course, I'm talking about this on this channel, how the month of April has been the second best month historically for crypto outside of November. And we have had years where February and March weren't so good. And then after April, here you can see May was a really good month. So one of the months that followed. So here's another time. That was 2014. This is 2020. April is really good. So hopefully April or May does good as well. And now, as I talk about altcoins, something I want to be very clear on, because a lot of people, they get into altcoins and they are very, very risky. Now, crypto is it's one of the most risky areas for quote unquote tech assets. But when you take a look at altcoins, they're even riskier. So I almost classify them as an educated gamble, if you will. But when these altcoins, if you choose the right ones, have done well, it is when we've seen a rotation. It happens a little bit over time each cycle. But then at the end of each cycle, at least the last two, when Bitcoin tops or is topping, then you see this massive rotation into altcoins like the ones we're talking about today, hopefully. And so on the way to these cycle tops, sometimes it happens a little bit slowly over time and then all at once. And some of the altcoins you can see pop off, do a 5x or something even higher. On this channel, I also talk about stocks, Bitcoin miners, which are stocks as well, in the overall market conditions, indicators as well. So subscribe if you want to hear more about that. Bitcoin on the weekly, you can see it's still red. We do have this 50-week moving average as support, an area to keep an eye on at around 77K. And right now on the daily, at least for today, we have another candle that's coming up and getting rejected right off that 200-day moving average. So we have the 20-day, that light red line, and the 200-day. If that isn't able to be broken, you can't see here we have these higher lows. But if that can't break, I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin come down in a flash, maybe to the mid to low 70 area. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying buy these alts that we're going to talk about, but we're taking a look at how much of a discount they are at and how they are setting up, at least on the charts. So first, let's take a look at ONDO, and we'll go to, I think we've charted this one in the past. Yes, we have. So we've charted this, and overall, you can see it's been a minute since we've taken a look at ONDO. We did draw this channel, and I will say, if we go over to the weekly, that's just going to be a wick, and so the channel is still holding up. But what is concerning, and you can see these two weekly candles here, they got rejected off that 50-week moving average, and that's not good. So let's stretch out our fib here. We have our fib drawn from the high to the low. Now, ONDO, when it came up to this level, that was probably the 1618. If we take our fib off log, yep. So the 1618, good profit taking target if you caught that at around $2.09. But we're looking at prices in between the prior highs and low. And what you can see here is with that channel and with a couple of these daily candles, it is resting on this 382. So the 382 is still holding up. That is at around 75 cents. So I would say, if you are able to get ONDO, if you're just taking a look at a discounted price, you're like, 382 is fine for me. I get it. I don't hate that plan. We don't have as much confirmation, but it's already fallen 65%. It could fall a little bit more if we went down to the 236, upwards of 70%. But I'd say if ONDO is an altcoin you like, and there are things I like about it that I've researched now, when you research a lot of these altcoins, they promise you a lot of things. They all sound great. So I try to not talk about these are trigger words for people, the fundamentals and the decentralization, all that crap with these altcoins. I tell you, being in this space since 2017, almost 10 years, I still haven't seen an everyday use case for cryptos outside of exchange machines and third world countries and in the ghettos of neighborhoods. So just saying, I know that might piss some people off, but that's the only use case I've seen so far, at least tangibly from my perspective. But for Ondo, if it is something you like, I wouldn't hate getting in anywhere in these prices from 65 to 75 cents if it gets underneath there. It might not, but we'll see. I'd say if you're close to 75 cents, that might not be the worst. Let's take a look at the stochastic RSI. Stochastic possibly, it's bottoming out, so that is a good sign. Now you can see here that the stochastic sometimes as it bottoms out, we can, right back here, you see it came up, offered some hope, and then fell through the floor. So you want to see the stochastic at least get up into the shaded area a little bit. Let's take a look at the MACD. We'll see if this one, it's just starting to round out as it's getting lighter in colors. That is a good thing. So, we'll see if that trend continues. I'd say I don't see major confirmation quite yet, but that it is something to watch for. And let's just take a look at the regular RSI. I mean, yeah, that's still looking bearish. Probably have to go over to the daily. To the daily, I'd say, yeah, I'm looking for some level of bullish divergence. Just don't see enough. So, like I said, around the 75-cent area might not be the worst. So, anyways, let's take a look at, actually, I'm pretty sure I have it in the sidebar over here. Let's take a look at Fetch. We're going to Fetch, JASMY, BONK, and AERO. So, Fetch drew this channel, and it's possibly going to break down underneath it, and then we have to reassess. So this is on the daily right now. On the weekly, we're still holding up fine, but if it breaks underneath, then we're going to get rid of this channel overall. So Fetch, it's another one that when it broke its all-time high, it got up to the 2618 at around $3, and so that's why we take our fib off log. We can see those good price targets when we draw from the high to the low. But it does look like it's coming back down into the former golden pocket area, the 618 to the 65. So again, we drew high to low and possibly getting down into this 37 to 39, 40 cent area. So there you can see there's been former price action, and those fibs have they've held up a little bit in the past several times. But if we do break down underneath this channel, I'm not just looking for right here. I'd be taking a look all the way at this area again, between 25 to 18 cents in there. And yeah, that'd be another 50% drop if that happened. But, we'll see. Things go the way Bitcoin goes. And if Bitcoin isn't able to get above that 200 like I talked about, then you got to watch out. So again, stochastic, still at the lower end. It could be one of these things where it's already bottomed, when the stochastic bottoms, or, you can see that when it comes up and then goes down again, we can get another little flash. I'm kind of looking for that, or I'm at least looking for more confirmation from the stochastic there. And then MACD, this is curling up a little bit. So that is somewhat promising there. I do like how the MACD's curling up there. So something to keep an eye on for Fetch. All right, next let's go to JASMY, and we'll go to BONK and AERO. So JASMY, sadly, it was holding this 382 for a while, right at around 1.8 cents. and it's coming down. And I gotta say, you take a look at this 236 level at around a ninth of a penny, and that would be the area where we might look for some support. Now, what we can also do is we can take a look at our fib, and we're just going to go from that prior high, not the former one, but the prior high, and you will see that this 382, it also lines up with that 236 there as well, at around that ninth of a penny. So if JASMY gets down to there, see what the market's doing. If Bitcoin is looking like it's stabilizing and holding up okay, or if Bitcoin's already at a local bottom somewhere around the mid 70Ks, looks like it's starting to come back up, I'd say this would be a discounted area if you like JASMY. But if it breaks underneath there, then you're looking at almost half a penny. So that would be something to watch. All right. I had a dog trying to get up on a bench, so I had to help her out a little bit there. All right. We have a couple more. We have BONK and AERO. So let's take a look at those. BONK and AERO. So, oh God. So BONK, this one's just falling straight down through that channel. I do believe there's been, sorry, wrong thing. I do believe there's some older charts of BONK, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here we go. So this one's on the MEXC chart before it got listed on Binance. And what you can see here, we have our fib drawn from the low to the high, and it got under the 236. And whether it's honoring the fib or the moving average, it got rejected off the 50-day moving average and that 236. We do have these macro higher lows here, but BONK, it's a meme coin. It's way more risky. I am not buying BONK or any of the memes or even some of these low cap alts we're talking about until we get more confirmation with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's still looking bearish, like I just showed you with the 200-day moving average, and it's not looking strong and it's getting rejected off some of those key moving averages or fibs, whatever, then I'm not going to be taking a stab at some of these risky ones. I'm just not. So if BONK is to go further down, then we got this 382 right here at, what is that? 5 zeros and 6.5. So I'll keep this one quick, and I'm not buying BONK right now. There's a couple rejections. Now, maybe it proves me wrong and blasts up and through, and this is around the lowest price you can get. Now look, we do have this horizontal price range support, and that's where it came right down to. It even wicked right down to around these areas here at around 5 zeros and a 9. So you can set a buy order if that's an area you like, but if it breaks underneath there, I'd say the next area is around 5 zeros and 6, somewhere around that area. All right, let's finish off with Aerodrome and go over to the Coinbase one. All right, let's redo our fib here. And so Aero, we do have this double top, which is somewhat concerning. And there's the double tops, there's the head and shoulders patterns, all those sorts of things. You'll see those patterns until you don't, and then they kind of go away. So sometimes take those with a grain of salt. What is concerning about Aerodrome is right here. It's breaking through those lows. And I remember us talking about Aerodrome sometime last year. It was around in here. And something I said, and you can go to my channel, type in Aerodrome, and look for that video. Look at the comments and some of the hate I got on it. And I'm not saying it to toot my own horn or say I was right. But what I was talking about is when it comes to new stocks or new altcoins, be very careful. I don't care what any of the fundamentals and good news and all the research we read on it does by these sites that are just pro whatever altcoin they're shilling. But I said be careful, because with a lot of newer alts and new stocks after they IPO, you want to give them a year or two usually. Otherwise, it's a very big risk. It might pay off, but in my opinion, I usually see them just fall off or return to their lows. And that's what happened with Aerodrome here. So, I know people didn't like hearing that, and Aerodrome got back to that high at around 236. Yeah, $2.36. But now it's making a newer low. And so, if this gets invalidated, then we really have to redraw our fib here from the absolute low to the high. And you'll see that's that 0.5 for aerodrome. And if it gets under that 0.5, I mean, there's a little bit of price action down here, but this thing could fall big time again. So, you might take a look at this right now and be like, that looks like it could be a double bottom. We had a double top. Maybe this is a double bottom. Hey, I'll give that to you. If you want to take an educated gamble or stab at it, have at it. I wouldn't personally, but on the bull side, I want to look at it from both sides. We do only have a wick underneath that 0.5. Came down to only a wick. So in the upcoming days, if you see candle bodies staying at the 0.5, then maybe. But again, watch what Bitcoin's doing. If Bitcoin is getting rejected and going lower, you bet your bottom that aerodrome, I would not be surprised to see it come down to 27, 24 cents. Okay. Again, if you're looking at this from a dollar cost average standpoint, I have two trains of thought. In a bullish, this is just me, I'm not telling you what to do. When things are bullish, I'll buy at the moving average and the fib levels. I'm fine with that. When things are getting bearish, when Bitcoin's getting under its 50-week moving average or whatever asset, I get more defensive and I look for confirmation with the MACD, the stochastic buy signals. Those are things I look for. So, if you're looking at just taking a stab at discounted value, okay, I get it. But if you're taking a look at this, I don't think there's any denying that this is bearish right now. And I would just wait for confirmation. You might not buy the very bottom, but at least you're not catching a falling knife. And these altcoins can turn into falling knives. And it sucks to see, when you take an educated gamble and all of a sudden it just gets wiped out by 50%, even when you think you're catching a bottom. So be careful with these. I think this is good to look at, especially at this current state of the market, and however much you're paying attention. Whatever altcoins you like, pay attention to those. Don't have so many, on this channel, I maybe do a dozen or so, and I don't have money in all these. Some of them I look at are just for you guys because I see your comments and I see that you like them, so I want to take a look at them. And some of them I've even thrown some money at, and whether and a couple of them have done well and a couple of them have not. So got to follow my own advice. But anyways, be careful with these alts, okay, and pay attention to Bitcoin and whatever your handful of alts are. All right. So anyways, thank you for watching the video. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Take care.